Hey, Rusty. I really love the way episode 4 of the Rusty and Jan show is shaping up.
Maybe it's because love is in the air.
Ooh. Well, that's a great way to introduce our annual Valentine's Day Couples Edition. You'll love it.
Okay, well then let's get started. When the world comes crashing down on us, they're always there, and they're always happy company because they care. Oh, yes, they care. And when you need to take out pain, well, no one else will do. Dial the phone or go on Zoom. Thank God there are friends like you. I said, thank God there are friends like you.
Hi, everyone. Welcome back.
We didn't think we'd make it with all the computer glitches we had to cancel last week, but here we are.
Yeah, well, it seems like episode 4 of the Rusty and Jan show is going to be very romantic. Wouldn't you agree, Rusty?
Yes, and it's another excuse to eat chocolate.
Yes, of course. People from all over celebrated love and companionship on Valentine's Day.
Well, what if you don't have any love and companionship?
I guess you just eat chocolate.
Works for me. Well, we're very excited about the love and companionship we celebrate with our friends Jeanette and Steve. They will be our special guests today.
And we'll see what kind of love George is cooking up this week. Rusty, do you know the quickest way to a man's heart?
Through his stomach?
No, silly. Through his chest. But you can still try one of George's delicacies.
Well, I was going to have Rusty Senior moment, but I forgot what I was going to say. So instead, we're going to introduce a new segment called Head to Head with Rusty and Jan.
This week, in honor of Valentine's Day, we're going to talk about duos throughout history. Some musical, some not.
And of course, we'll have our regular segment, Gigging with Jan, where she'll talk about events going on in our special community.
But first, we'd like to play a song for you.
We're so happy to present a new song to you where Jan wrote all the music and I only wrote the lyrics. A new endeavor for us, something new. But we just thought you should know.
Know what?
Just thought you should know.
The name of the song?
Just thought you should know.
The name of the song.
Just thought you should know.
Oh, the name of the song. Third base.
I love you. I thought that you should know. I positively love you. It might not always show how you make me feel. My broken heart has healed. Oh, I thought that you should know. When we make our sound, the music's all around. To have you near, you always calm my fears. All that I can say is you've made me feel this way. You know I'm deeply thankful every day. make our sound. The music's all around. To have you near, you always calm my fears. All that I can say is you made me feel this way. You know I'm deeply thankful every day. Every day. It's not like we're a new thing. We've had our ups and downs. I know that I'm a better man whenever you're around. You help me when I strive. You make me feel alive. You help me sing my song. I love you till my life is gone. I love you. I hope you understand. Oh, I positively love you. I'm glad to be your man. How you made me feel. What we have is real. I love you. Just thought you should know. Just thought you should know. So Jan and I talked about what we wanted to talk about this week, and because it's about couples, we wanted to find some other famous couples.
Do you have any examples?
Well, of course, there's Adam and Eve.
I didn't know they played music.
It was paradise. How could it be paradise without music? I'm sure they made beautiful music together and a bunch of kids, or we wouldn't be here.
Well, then musically, we had Sonny and Cher. They were a husband and wife duo from 1964 to 1977. Their hits included I Got You, Babe, and The Beat Goes On.
Yes, not to mention Hey Joe before Jimi Hendrix did it.
And then there was Captain and Tennille.
Well, that was the 70s when you were new on the scene. One thing they did know that we found out.
What was that, Rusty?
Love will keep us together. And I know you were always a big fan of the Carpenters.
Oh, yes. I love the Carpenters. Karen had a beautiful voice and she was blessed with perfect pitch, not to mention the wonderful arrangements of her brother, Richard.
I wonder how many people knew what a talented percussionist she was and how you could be in such a good mood whenever you heard her sing Top of the World. It definitely hit a tragic note that was going on in Karen's life. She brought a sad awareness to the issue of young women with eating disorders, and she definitely had an effect on how treatment is administered today.
Absolutely. Is this really just limited to couples? What about the mamas and the papas?
Well, they were definitely couples. It was just difficult to know who was with who at one time. I get the impression they were very tired and probably had a lot of difficulty on Monday.
Probably so. And the song dedicated to the one I love really goes with today's Valentine's Day theme here.
Yes. Well, of course, I remember Ike and Tina Turner when I saw the coverage of Woodstock. Yeah, that's how old. I'll always remember hearing their version of Proud Mary. I remember the headline of when Ike died that said, Ike beats Tina Turner to death. There was a sweet revenge in that statement.
Really, Rusty? Really? That's terrible. How about the fact that she was a symbol of strength to other women performers of her day?
And then she went on to be in Beyond Thunderdome.
Yeah, so what about Lindsey Buckingham and Stevie Nicks? Before they were a part of Fleetwood Mac, they were a duo.
Well, that was an example of how relationships can fail, but chemistry persists. They were great together, but they said they could never go back again.
Until Bill Clinton called them for the inauguration, that is.
Yes, it shows the value of a retired person, doesn't it?
Yes, it does. But if you're looking for something solid,
Oh,
the 80s brought us Ashford and Simpson.
they actually had a long career covering songs such as artists from Marvin Gaye, Diana Ross, and Aretha Franklin.
And who is this? Steve and Edie?
Well,
I've never heard of them.
you have to be from my generation. We used to see Steve Lawrence and Edie Gourmet all the time on our black and whites. They were around when music was changing from my parents' finger snapping time jazz to the evolving rock and roll of the 60s. They did receive a Grammy for their song We Got Us, but they became so stereotypically irrelevant to music changes that they had to release a song called Broken Hearts and Broken Promises under the names Parker and Penny. No one knew at first, and it was a great publicity stunt.
I bet. And I know that Burns and Allen were not a music couple, but they still apply to this list.
True. George Burns and Gracie Allen were one of the most successful comedic duos of their time. Jan and I had to review some of their videos to kind of improve our own timing.
Here's an example of one of their routines.
Hey, Jan, I took the car out for some gas today.
Oh, Rusty, I wish you hadn't. I think there's a problem with the brakes.
Oh, don't worry. I only use them when I stop. Well, that's our list. We hope you enjoyed our little reminiscences.
Yes, it is. If you're familiar with couples we may have missed, put it in comments and maybe we'll discuss them in a future episode.
Thanks for joining Head to Head.
Hello, and welcome back to Giggin' with Jan. I looked around on Facebook to see what shows were happening right now, and this is what I found. Nothing. Seriously, though, if you have any projects or gigs that you want me to mention, please write them in comments or send me a message. Having said that, I'd like to talk about a show coming up that I previously mentioned in another episode. The Winter Doldrums Concert for Suicide Prevention will take place virtually on February the 28th at 12 p.m. It's organized by Dole Dime and WXPM, and it will be live streamed by the Philadelphia Folk Song Society. There are several wonderful performers, including Dar Williams, Ginger Coyle, Marion Halliday, and many more. This is certainly an issue we can all agree is deserving of awareness, and we hope that you will tune in to support it. You can find more information and purchase tickets at www.pfs.org. And that's all for Giggin' with Jan.
Yeah, that's it.
Good evening, and welcome to George's Corner. I would just like to thank everybody for doing the open mic on Thursdays. You guys have been great for attending, and we've had a great attendance, so I'd just like to thank you. I just wanted to remind everybody that we're doing delivery now, so you can order through our website. You can get delivery or takeout, so it's just something that we're trying to do to help, promote our food is doing delivery. And we have exciting news. We're actually teaming up with Poke Uno starting March 1st. So we're going to be serving Poke Uno's menu and our menu for 3 months starting in March 1st. So I'm sure you guys have seen the details out there. So I'm going to be advertising that a lot more. It's just something new that's coming to the cafe, a new opportunity for us, and something cool that we're going to bring to Mount Airy. Like to welcome my guests today, Jeanette and Steve. They're wonderful musicians, and I've had them hosted them at the cafe many times for eating and for shows. They've had some of the most amazing shows and had wonderful guests and packed the house dozens of times for me. I can't even count. So I'm really excited for them to have them on the show, and I can't wait to see their interview. And then also, I'd like to thank, from 2 weeks ago, Charles was our guest, and I have a little picture of me playing with Charles. I love Charles, so I just wanted to give him a shout out to him, and here's a little picture that Jan's going to put on for us. And now a little fun facts and history about Mount Airy. So doing some research this week, I found out that actually the trolley line, that's also the bus line, is known as the route of the 23, was once the longest running route line in the whole of the United States. It used to go, and when I remember when we opened several years ago, that the bus line used to go from all the way from South Philly all the way to Chestnut Hill, and that's the same line that the trolley used to run all the way from South Philly to Chestnut Hill, and I thought that was so interesting. And I just wanted to give a shout out to also Jefferson Berry for making the commercial. I also want to let you know that he also came out with his own tea from the craft tea guy, which is the same guy that makes our tea. So I have, Jefferson Berry just came out with his tea, and I just wanted to let everybody know about it. So Jan's going to put some pictures of the tea for you guys too, and you can order it from the cafe.
Well, hi everybody. We're back again, and we're really excited because we have a really special guest this week. Someone that we've really been around with for a long time. I've known Steve Perlsweig from way back when he used to have a pig nose dangling between his legs at the Philadelphia Folk Festival, and shortly after that, that Jeanette came around, and Jan and I have been doing a couples gig with them for 10 years now, and we're really happy that even though there is a pandemic, it's not slowing us down, and the couples are back again.
Yes. We used to do collaborative songs, too, with them as well.
Oh, yes, it's
But,
true.
yeah,
And
can't
we
do that
will
today,
again.
obviously, but
We will do that again.
We have about 4 songs in our repertoire that we do as duets.
Yes.
yes,
Oh, yeah.
that's correct about
Yes, and we will do it again. We will. So,
Well, so how did you guys begin together as a duo?
Well, how did we begin as a duo? Oh, I gave I gave a solo cabaret showcase at Society Hill Playhouse. It was an hour-long show, and we had just been dating for maybe about a year, and so I knew that Steve was it. And so he was a guest performer in my cabaret showcase.
Pete Seeger song.
And it was Oh, Had I a Golden Thread was the Pete Seeger song that we did together.
Duet.
That was the first duet. And then we took cabaret class together.
Yes.
We sang at our wedding together. We made a CD for my parents when we went on vacation with them. My dad was dying, and it was their 55th anniversary, and the family went to Las Vegas.
Jeanette had been studying cabaret with the same people that Charles Nolan was hooked up with, and they were from New York and came down to Philly. And then she pulled me into it, which was really enlightening and opened me up to some new ideas about performing that I never even really gave much thought to.
well, you know what? Just so we can all be clear, and to our listeners as well, what is cabaret? And I think a lot of people don't really have a good understanding.
Well, cabaret, for me, is the art of telling a story through song,
Okay.
and conveying emotion through song, and it's really very strong connection with lyrics.
So that was a new experience for you, Steve.
Oh, very new. Yeah, it opened up a whole new world for me in terms of performing, because I was always one to, and I'm sure you've seen me do this a lot, with the words, to remember them, close my eyes and play and kind of zone out. And they were not into that at all. They don't want you zoning out. They want you engaging and figuring out ways to connect and to do expressions to get the meaning of the song and the lyrics across to the listening audience, which to this day, I'm a zillion years behind where Jeanette is. I still fall back a lot on my old ways, and even though I have been quote unquote enlightened,
Trained.
I've been trained, but it doesn't have the weight of all those years of doing it differently. So
well, I don't have to play guitar.
Yeah.
So I'm focusing more on lyrics, and he's focusing on guitar
we work
parts.
at it, and Jeanette will bring to my attention, like, Steve, you're not getting this across right, and I know that she's on to something, and so that rather than meet it with resistance, I embrace it and do my best to work it in. Doesn't always work out, but
yeah.
So you would say that the way cabaret has influenced you is it made you engage with the audience better.
Absolutely, yeah. That's
and
what
with
they're
the
all
songs.
about.
And with the songs.
Yeah.
So one quick tip for this is that if we're getting away from the lyrics, we don't sing them, we recite them. So if Steve is not like getting it, I'm like, say the words, talk it, because that's what we would do in class. Don't sing it, say the words. Well, what are you saying? And say it like you mean it. And if you talk it through a few times, then it changes the way you sing it.
Interesting.
Okay. Yeah.
I'll have to try that sometime.
Yeah. Well, I mean, as I say, I've known you for many years. We've been doing this for 10 years now. It's and it's obvious, and I've mentioned before that that you have inspired me, Jeanette, in my performance and my delivery and how I appear to the audience. And while I understand, as you're saying this to Steve, that it's a matter in his case of training. It looks pretty natural when it's coming out of you. It really does.
Well, I'm naturally dramatic.
Oh,
when I was a
says that about me.
When I was a brownie in elementary school, the teacher, the brownie leader called me Sarah Bernhardt. I've been a little drama queen since I was a young
it
child.
might not have been an accident that she fell into this cabaret thing,
Yeah, well, I was kind of wondering that,
Yeah.
So, well, I guess our music and our art, in a way, finds us, right? I mean, we're inspired by people that we hear, and then we emulate them, and then we find the fit that we were looking for when we started out.
That's right. Speaking of that, how did you guys meet?
We met at a Philadelphia Folk Song Society housing that I hosted. And I wanted to meet men, and I knew that...
I knew that.
Yeah, and I knew that the Folk Song Society was a way to do that, because both myself and my girlfriends all met guys at the folk festival at different times. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to join the Folk Song Society, and I'm going to host a party. So
I came over with my friend Sam, who I still play with to this day. In fact, I played with him last week.
Yes.
Sam, his name?
Sam Sultan.
Sultan.
Right.
Percussionist and a close friend of mine. And we came to Jeanette's
and transformed
party.
it from one of these drippy things where people were just eating, and suddenly it became musical. Debbie showed up, Shelley showed up, so it was awful, and then they showed up, and it was transformed. And on the way out, Steve said to me, if I wasn't married, you'd be the kind of woman I'd like.
Yeah,
and I'm like, well, all the good that does me, So,
of course he said that to every other woman who was leaving the party that night.
No, I don't think I've ever said that to any other woman before, but I did say it that night.
You did.
But I didn't think much it was going to ever happen or anything like that.
Sure.
And then a couple of years later, he separated and then called me, and we courted for a while, and then we had our first date. And that first date is actually where it was the Pasta House concert.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So you went to a Pasta event,
Mm-hmm.
and
So that was our first real date, although we had been on the phone and courting and stuff like that. And
at that
Steve,
time, I was writing a lot
Yeah,
at that time.
right.
I had a 10-year stint with a songwriting partner where we were writing
Andy
songs.
Mosenter.
Andy Mosenter. And Andy and I wrote many songs. We would get together once a week and diligently put our hearts and souls into writing. And so I was bringing the best of what I had at the time to this PASA event where I was performing. And it seemed like one of the songs really caught with Jeanette. And actually, I think for our 10-year stint of writing together, this particular song is by far the best song that we wrote. I knew it when we were writing it, and we really just kind of had the good fortune of being able to finish a song that even to this day I feel good about.
Can you play it for us?
Now, this is the
Absolutely.
song that
Yeah.
we covered of theirs, is it not?
Yes, it is.
two lovers, the sparks begin to fly. There's nothing that they will not try. Together their world seems right. Time passes, no place for them to go. They want to return to life alone, now or never. Why can't they see the light? Trust is their next step, it's what they need. Trust without regret, and there is no guarantee that when they open up, they will not get hurt. This is how life works. Leap of faith, that's what true love takes. These two stayed and worked things out before it was too late. Years later, the sparks no longer fly. They struggle to understand just why their lives have grown apart. One evening, the tears begin to flow. They're ready to let each other go, though they vow until death do us part. Trust is their next step, it's what they need. Trust without regret, and there is no guarantee that when they open up, they will not get hurt. This is how life works. Trust is our next step, it's what we need. Trust without regret, and there is no guarantee that when we open up, we will not get hurt. This is how life works. Take a risk, there's much to learn. Trust and hope returns.
Yay!
We've always loved that song too. In fact, we covered it at a Pasta Cover Me party one year.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
was
it-
our sound okay?
Oh,
That
yes.
sounded great.
Sounded great.
Yeah, it needed a flute and another vocal harmony, but I think there might be a copy of that out there somewhere. So
So just to put a cap on this, so when Steve did this at the Pasta House concert, and we had been courting, and this is our first date, I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to be in a relationship with a man who believes in risk and trust. And I was so excited. And then he did this with his Electric Man rig a few weeks later at Spring Thing, which I had never seen, and my sister was with me, and she heard him do this song with Electric Man, and the two of us were like, oh my God, oh my God. I was so excited that this was the man I was entering a relationship with, and things really started happening quickly after that.
Rusty, isn't that why we started playing in the first place?
Exactly.
I believe it is.
Yeah.
So, what musical artists would you say influenced your sound?
I think it's different for each of us.
Yeah.
So for me, when I was a kid, it was Jacques Brel and Judy Collins.
Yeah.
Jacques Brel and Judy Collins a lot. So I would, and
Yeah, I think
My folky. Yeah.
and Pete Seeger and Grandpa. What am I thinking?
Right. Exactly. Well, I was wondering.
Thank you. My grandfather was a folk singer, and he knew Pete Seeger. We listened to a lot of that stuff. Too.
Oh, I never
I wondered
knew
who
that.
Grandpop was.
Yeah.
How about you, Steve?
Well, I mean, I don't know who would have sung "Home on the Range," because when I was like 6 or 7, I was performing, at holiday
Ritter?
dinners, and I would sing that song on a little plastic guitar that I had. So I don't know where that came from, but as I got older, then it would be like the rock that started taking me over. That's what pulled me away from playing in the school band, where I actually sat as first trumpet in the band and the orchestra in 7th grade. And when I started hearing rock and roll, I decided this stuff doesn't mean anything, and I really got into the guitar, and that was what really Jimi Hendrix, Eric Clapton, a little bit later, but still, so I was a rocker basically.
Yeah.
Still are.
I still am. Yeah.
Although you do seem to like your acoustic side.
Very much so, Rusty. And,
Yeah.
and in 1982, I went to my first folk festival.
I see.
And before that, folk was just a tiny little fraction of what interested me. Although, I mean, it was always Cat Stevens, and
Yeah.
I mean, I enjoyed good sounding records of all different genres. But going to the folk festival kind of opened me up to a lot of other, and especially folk music. And then meeting people and getting friendly with people who are interested in it, and then the next thing you know, you're playing in jams late at night, and what are you playing? You're playing
yeah.
a lot of folk music, right? So,
And we always get back to what we're fortunate to have, and what we have here is that community that really began when you went through those gates of the folk festival, And you take it to your house every year on New Year's Eve, and we take it to the Melilani Cafe, and it's all one great big thing that we all started together with that momentous occasion when our lights turned on and we saw the assholes.
yeah. Well, a lot of years have passed since those
Oh God, yeah.
times. I mean, for me it was 1982, but I think that's
1989 was my
that's
first.
38 years of folk music. That's
Wow.
Yeah.
Big
yeah.
You don't even have that much.
I
huh?
got about 25, I think. Yeah.
So,
Well, anyhow.
But also as a couple, we have Leonard Cohen, Stevie Wonder, and Keb Mo are the
Yes.
3 songwriters who we're most drawn to, and we keep returning to, and
play a lot of
like
their
we play a
songs.
lot of their songs, especially.
Yeah.
Right.
And I would just remark on
No
what
surprises there.
what I've seen in your style. Like, I understand politically and such that you're very much folkies in that regard, but there is this jazz, perhaps style that comes with it, this darkness that comes from the Leonard Cohen and some of that type of music, very much folky, but very much beatnik at the same time.
when you talk about jazz, for myself, I studied jazz. I studied with
Yeah.
some great teachers.
Uh-huh.
I studied for years with a guy named Chuck Anderson, who was a jazz
wow.
guitarist.
Yeah.
And another guy named Joe Federico from Drexel Hill, and another great guitarist, Joe Spiro from South Philadelphia. And these guys all studied with the great Dennis Sandoli, who was also Pat Martino's teacher in South Philly, and
Michael Sembello.
Michael Sembello was a friend of mine from high school, and he studied with Chuck Anderson and also with Dennis Sandoli. So I have a lot of jazz background, and I was studious, and I was real good at it too.
Oh, well, you are, and it's evident, obviously. But one thing that we, the four of us, have in common is that we all live in town. A lot of our friends are Mount Airy and, so on and so forth. But we like being on the grid, right in the center of town and being able to walk to where we need to go and go over into Washington Square or and play our music. I mean, it's a different lifestyle,
It's a great lifestyle, and we were talking about that this morning, and that's part of the reason why we've been able to make our connection with both of you as strong as it's been, is living in town together with you guys.
Absolutely.
Exactly. Yeah, the needs of the urban dweller are different from the suburbanites, and we celebrate it. I know you do as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
But what do you feel like Philadelphia's done for you as far
Well,
as,
today I walked across the square and bought these flowers for Jeanette.
Oh, well, it worked out for her.
Yay.
A restaurant that's right up the street on Locust Street.
Yes.
Got the takeout yesterday.
Takeout, but
My
so you
favorite
get the
restaurant.
idea. That's just
The
two
best
things that happened
vegan restaurant in the world.
That just
right?
happened in the last day or two. So
And didn't burn a drop of gas. See that?
And you play in the park a lot.
Yeah.
We
Love
do. We
playing
got
in
to
the park.
play with you with our masks on this summer.
That's
we
right.
did. Yeah, we've been very fortunate to have opportunity. I know a lot of other people, friends of ours, our age, who are so isolated that we're constantly worried about them. But our lives have been very active and full during this situation.
Not to mention that art gallery that we played at, 10 years ago?
Yes.
So, what was the name of that art gallery?
Well, ANX. I think it's ANX Gallery.
That's right.
And, it was in my old neighborhood, so it was which is 10th Street, four
Right.
blocks from here, and
they were having an X-rated art display.
Right,
They
They were.
it was a homoerotic photography exhibit.
Yeah.
At the same time, we were doing our show in the back room, which was a library.
Were you going to show any of the pictures that you took of the pictures that were on the wall for us?
I thought I would just model them myself.
I don't know. I don't even know if I'll have to look for them, but I don't. Maybe I'll show work.
After we when you're done with
I
our
might get you
segment.
banned with this show if you show any of that stuff.
Probably so. Probably
That's
so.
for your future in television. Yeah.
So here's a fun question for you. If you could open for any musical guest, who would it be?
Kev Mo.
Kev Mo, absolutely.
Knew you were going to say that.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
And he's going to be at Cabin Fever Fest next week, and we
Right.
got to meet him at the Folk Festival, which was really a thrill.
And we gave him a recording of songs of his that we took.
And we modified.
That we modified. We changed the words. We changed the chords.
Made it into a
We
duo
were
for
worried-
white people.
We were worried about
you know.
getting sued from them.
And
Which is
wonder-
ridiculous
yeah.
because we didn't make a nickel from
Yeah,
that.
we
from
were
that.
like, are we
We
going to
weren't
get a
even
letter
selling
from
anything.
Kevmo either with a cease and desist order or a request to have us to do our song with his wife,
We
because
never heard
we
from
made
him.
it into a duo.
No, we never heard from
But
him.
he was delightful when we met him at the Folk Festival, and we hugged him, and he was just lovely, and just.
So we love his music. His music has really taken us, impressed
Grabbed
us,
us,
grabbed
really,
us. Yeah.
He was one of the ones I suspected you would say.
Yeah. But isn't it interesting though, in this age of intellectual property and all that kind of worries about monetization and all, that something is lost on some people, but perhaps remembered by him, that to be covered is the ultimate compliment. When somebody covers me, it blows me away. I mean,
Yeah.
really.
Yeah. Yeah. It is.
So I know that you two wrote a song together called Vitamin L. Can you tell us how that went?
Sure. So we were on vacation in Massachusetts, visiting my sister, and we were trying to get our health habits better.
Yeah.
And we visited a nutritionist named Fiona Barrett, who is a lovely woman, and she talked to us about diet, and she was very impressed by how we interacted. And she said, you two, and she's British, so she said it with
Yes.
this beautiful British accent.
Sophisticated, very
You
sophisticated.
have vitamin L. And that's what's really gonna, that's the most important thing for health, is that you have vitamin L, which is love. And she had vitamin L magnets, and she had tchotchkes. I don't know if we have any, that she gave us anything, but so she said this to us, and as soon as we got back from this trip, we wrote this song in a day. It just came to us. So, yeah. That's it. That's our vitamin L story.
Why don't you play it for us?
Okay. Yeah. All right.
Okay.
See, that's a cabaret preparation trick.
That's voice therapy.
Voice
actually,
therapy.
yeah.
Okay. All right. Here it is.
Breakfast is oatmeal, berries and green tea. Lunch is a salad with pumpkin seeds. The evening brown rice, tofu and kale. But the best part of my health plan is vitamin L. Vitamin L is my love for you. Love makes me feel healthy, it's true. Vitamin L is your love for me. It's better than medicine, can't you see?
Every day I go to the gym. I work up a sweat from beginning to end. I do push-ups and sit-ups so I can stay well. But the best part of my health plan is vitamin L. Vitamin L is my love for you. Love makes me feel healthy, it's true. Vitamin L is your love for me. It's better than medicine, can't you see? Holding you tight, cuddling at night. I sleep with sweet dreams and wake up feeling right.
We don't like to smoke, take drugs or drink. To get rid of germs, we wash our hands in the sink. We don't text and drive, we wear our seatbelts. But the best part of our health plan is vitamin L. Vitamin L is my love for you. Love makes me feel healthy, it's true. Vitamin L is your love for me. It's better than medicine, can't you see? Vitamin L for you and me.
Woo!
Yeah.
That's such a cute song.
Absolutely.
And there's that jazz influence that we were talking about.
yeah.
But,
Oh, yeah.
So,
Yeah.
And also, I was working at a public health agency at the time that we wrote this song. So I think I covered the entire, we covered the entire public health gamut. All of the pieces of this song.
yes, washing your hands and absolutely. Well,
Well,
thank you so much for being our guest.
Thank you.
Thank you. And we look forward next year to doing this in person.
Absolutely.
yeah.
Show again at
Yeah,
Melalani,
love
where we've
doing that.
had them for the last few years, and we all dress in red. And happy Valentine's Day to you, and we love
to
you.
you.
And thanks so much for having us.
Yeah, we really appreciate
And I
it.
can't wait to get next to you, babe.
Oh my God.
Oh, Steve, he really wants to get next to you.
Good one, Jeanette.
I love you guys.
We
and
love you
thank so
guys.
much.
All right, guys. Thank you.
Take care. Happy Valentine's Day.
You too. Well, Jan, I just love the way episode 4 turned out.
Yes, it was so romantic.
Very, very sweet. I feel like it's affected my blood sugar.
But all you need is love.
And all I need is you to be my Valentine.
Aww. Well, we love all of you, and we appreciate you tuning into our little project. We would love to hear any recommendations you have for something that you'd like to see on our show.
Till next time, here's a lovely song we'd like to close with. It's called Red and White Carnations, and it was one of my earliest love songs.
Aww. Bye.
Bye. Not so very long ago, I went to see this girl I know. Her plane was due at 6:05. She always made me feel alive. By the road I saw her boy selling floral bits of joy, red and white carnations, just to show her that I care. I called over the young man. I put $2 in his hand. I pulled through the gate and parked the car. Didn't have to walk too far. As I walked, I wondered if the flowers weren't too odd a gift. Red and white carnations, just to show her that I cared. Soon the plane came from the sky, bringing her right by my side. Up the ramp she came to me. She was all that I could see. Her eyes were bright, my name she called. She was happy when she saw red and white carnations, just to show her that I cared. Haven't seen her for a while. Sometimes I still miss her smile. What we once had has now gone dry. Neither one of us could cry. I'm better off, I know it's so, but I can still remember those red and white carnations, just to show you that I care.